It is Christmas Day, 1994. Somewhere in the Sierra Nevada mountains, a man named Tsutomu Shimomura is skiing. He is one of the most respected computer security researchers in the United States. He has spent his career building digital defenses for some of the most powerful institutions in the world. He has no idea that 3,000 miles away, someone is inside his home computer, not just browsing, stealing methodically, quietly, and without leaving a single footprint. The attacker copies Shimomura's most sensitive security tools, research he has spent years developing, and vanishes into the network. By the time Shimomura returns from the mountains and discovers what happened, the files are already gone. But here's the thing that changes everything. The hacker made a mistake. He chose the wrong target. And that one decision on Christmas Day, 1994, would bring the most wanted cyber criminal in American history to his knees. This is the story of Kevin Mitnick. Kevin David Mitnick was born on August 6, 1963, in Van Nuys, a working-class suburb in California's San Fernando Valley. His parents divorced when he was 3, and he was raised largely by his mother, who worked as a waitress. For long stretches of his childhood, Kevin was essentially on his own. He filled that time with an obsession most people would not have predicted: magic, sleight of hand, card tricks, misdirection. At age 10, Kevin Mitnick was already fascinated by the mechanics of making people believe something that was not true. He practiced for hours, not to entertain, but because he genuinely loved the puzzle of it. The idea that you could control what someone else perceived just by understanding how their attention worked. It was the perfect foundation for everything that came next. At 12, a school bus driver showed Kevin something that seemed trivial. Using a hole punch and discarded bus transfer tickets, you could ride the entire Los Angeles transit system for free. Most kids would have smiled and moved on. Kevin spent weeks collecting used transfers from rubbish bins, memorizing bus routes, and riding every line in Los Angeles, completely free. It was his first hack, not digital, human. By 16, Kevin had discovered phone phreaking, a subculture built around exploiting the audio tone vulnerabilities in America's telephone network. By generating specific tones, phreakers could make free long-distance calls, redirect connections, or manipulate the switching equipment that controlled how calls moved across the country. Kevin was not just good at this, he was exceptional. He called telephone company operators pretending to be a repairman, an engineer, a fellow employee.
Hold on.
He obtained Pacific Bell's internal operating manuals by calling employees and asking for them, impersonating an executive who needed them urgently.
Send them immediately.
He was 13 years old. No one suspected a thing. There is a concept in cybersecurity called social engineering. It has nothing to do with code and everything to do with human psychology. The basic idea is this: it is almost always easier to manipulate a person than to break through their technical defenses. A firewall can be updated, encryption can be strengthened, but a helpful employee who wants to do their job well, that vulnerability is almost impossible to patch.
Have a great day.
Kevin Mitnick understood this before most security professionals did. While the entire technology industry focused on building better walls, Mitnick walked through the front door, because he had spent years learning how to make people open it for him.
Pull up those records.
His method was elegant and, in retrospect, terrifyingly simple. Before making a single phone call, he would research his target, learning employee names, internal job titles, company terminology, and organizational structure from publicly available sources. Sometimes he would go through company rubbish bins looking for discarded memos, org charts, and internal phone directories. Then he would call, and he would sound exactly like he belonged there. He would impersonate senior executives to pressure junior staff. He would play the role of a frustrated IT engineer who just needed a password reset right now because the system was going down. He used urgency, authority, and the simple human desire to be helpful. Think of it this way. Your building has a security guard who recognizes your colleague's face. While Mitnick keeps your colleague busy in another room, he walks in wearing a mask that perfectly mimics them. The guard waves him through. No alarm, no breach detected, no log entry. He was already inside. By the time Mitnick was in his mid-20s, his intrusions had gone far beyond phone phreaking and curiosity. He had systematically targeted some of the most valuable technology companies in the world. In 1988, he broke into the internal network of Digital Equipment Corporation, one of the most important computer manufacturers in the United States at the time, and stole the source code for their flagship operating system. DEC estimated the value of what was taken at $1 million. They detected the intrusion, worked with the FBI, and Mitnick was arrested. He received 12 months in federal prison. He was released in 1989. By 1992, he was doing it again. Mitnick hacked into Pacific Bell's voicemail systems, including the voicemails of the security employees who were actively investigating him. He was listening to his own case from the inside. When he realized an arrest was imminent, he made a decision. He disappeared. For the next 2.5 years, Kevin Mitnick lived as a fugitive. He moved between cities: Los Angeles, Denver, Seattle, Las Vegas, Raleigh, traveling under false identities with fabricated social security numbers, fake job histories, and counterfeit ID documents. The FBI placed him on a wanted list. He became, officially, America's most wanted cyber criminal. And while he was running, he was still hacking. The scope of what Mitnick accessed during this fugitive period is staggering. Nokia's mobile phone source code, Motorola's proprietary handset software, Sun Microsystems' Solaris operating system. Prosecutors would later claim the total value of software taken exceeded $300 million. Mitnick himself disputed that figure vigorously, and with some justification. He never sold a single line of code. He never monetized any of the stolen material. He did not profit financially from any of it. He did it, he would later say, because he could, because the challenge of getting in was the point. But in late 1994, that intellectual curiosity led him to make his greatest mistake. Tsutomu Shimomura, was not an ordinary target. He was a computational physicist at the San Diego Supercomputer Center and one of the most skilled computer security researchers in America. He had worked with the US government on classified projects. In the world of network security, his name meant something. On Christmas Day, 1994, while Shimomura was in the Sierra Nevada mountains, an intruder remotely accessed his personal workstation and stole a large collection of cutting-edge security tools. Research Shimomura had spent years developing. The method of attack was technically sophisticated. Mitnick exploited a vulnerability in how computers establish trusted connections over a network. Every time two computers communicate, they exchange a sequence of numbers to verify each other. Mitnick predicted those numbers, essentially guessing the secret handshake, while simultaneously flooding Shimomura's trusted computer with so many connection requests that it was too overwhelmed to respond and object. He impersonated a trusted machine. The server believed him. He was inside. When Shimomura came back from skiing and discovered the intrusion, his reaction was not fear. It was fury. He did not call the FBI and wait. He picked up the phone, contacted the Bureau directly, and offered his expertise to help track down whoever had done this. The hunt had begun. Shimomura worked with FBI agent Ken McGuire and engineers from Sprint PCS to trace Mitnick's movements through the digital trail he left behind. The key breakthrough came through Mitnick's use of cloned cellular phones. To stay untraceable, Mitnick had been using handsets programmed with stolen phone identities, other people's electronic serial numbers, so his calls appeared to originate from someone else entirely. It was clever, but it was not invisible. Cellular networks work by triangulating signals from radio towers. Every call emits a radio frequency, and radio frequencies have a physical location. Shimomura obtained the cellular frequency data from Sprint and began narrowing Mitnick's location. By early February 1995, the evidence pointed to Raleigh, North Carolina. Shimomura flew to Raleigh. He mounted a directional antenna, the kind used by amateur radio operators, onto a vehicle and began driving through the city's streets, measuring the strength of Mitnick's cellular signal. Every time he drove closer to the source, the signal got stronger. Every time he turned away, it faded. He drove in decreasing circles, each pass tighter than the last. On the evening of February 14th, Valentine's Day, the signal led him to a quiet apartment complex in North Raleigh called the Players Court. The circle was complete. The FBI moved in. Apartment 202, Players Court, Raleigh, North Carolina, February 15th, 1995. Shortly after midnight, Kevin Mitnick was asleep. He was living under a false name, Brian Merrill, with a fabricated identity he had spent months building, a fake social security number, a plausible employment history, credit cards and a name that didn't exist. When the knock came at the door, he opened it. FBI agents stood in the hallway. The man who had evaded law enforcement for 2.5 years. The man who had listened to his own investigation from the inside. The man whose name had appeared on wanted lists across the country. He looked at the badges, and he did not run. He surrendered quietly. Inside the apartment, agents found dozens of cloned cell phones, multiple sets of false identification, and evidence connecting Mitnick to intrusions at dozens of major corporations. They also found thousands of stolen credit card numbers. Not a single one had ever been used. What happened after the arrest was, in many ways, more disturbing than anything Mitnick had done. Federal prosecutors argued that Kevin Mitnick was so technologically dangerous that granting him bail posed a threat to national security. A claim was reportedly made, though never substantiated, that Mitnick could initiate a nuclear strike simply by whistling tones into a telephone. Legal experts called it hysteria. Computer scientists called it absurd. But it worked. Mitnick was held in pre-trial detention for nearly 4.5 years, longer than most non-violent offenders serve for their complete sentence. He was placed in solitary confinement on multiple occasions, partly on the grounds that even a payphone posed a risk if he were allowed near one. He had not yet been convicted of anything. The response from the hacker community and civil liberties organizations was immediate. A campaign emerged under the slogan, "Free Kevin." Government websites were defaced with the message. Programmers printed it on T-shirts. The Electronic Frontier Foundation filed legal briefs on his behalf. It was arguably the first time the internet mobilized as a political force. And it drew a question that has never been fully resolved. Was Kevin Mitnick a dangerous criminal who deserved every day of that detention? Or was he a curious technologist who was made into a symbol because the government did not yet know how to talk about the internet and needed a monster to point to? In August 1999, after years of legal maneuvering, Kevin Mitnick entered a guilty plea to computer fraud and wire fraud charges. He was sentenced to 68 months in federal prison. With credit for time already served, he was released on January 21, 2000. As a condition of his release, he was prohibited from using any computer, mobile phone, or electronic device for 3 years. In the year 2000, that meant being effectively locked out of modern professional life. The mythology around Mitnick, the nuclear threat claims, the $300 million damage figure, the idea that he was uniquely, supernaturally dangerous, did not survive contact with reality. He had never sold stolen data. He had never used a single stolen credit card number. He had never physically harmed anyone, or attempted to. Prosecutors had estimated $300 million in damages. Independent analysts and Mitnick himself disputed that number as wildly inflated, calculated using replacement cost methodologies that bore little relationship to actual harm caused. The ghost in the machine, it turned out, was just a man who loved a puzzle. After his release, Kevin Mitnick did something unexpected. He became one of the most sought-after cybersecurity consultants in the world. The companies he had once hacked now paid him to find their vulnerabilities. Fortune 500 corporations, government agencies, and banks hired Mitnick Security Consulting to test their defenses. He testified before the United States Senate, not as a defendant, but as an expert witness, advising the very institutions that had once imprisoned him. He wrote books that became required reading at universities worldwide. He gave talks that filled conference halls. He spent the last 20 years of his life teaching people how to protect themselves against exactly what he had once done to them. Kevin Mitnick died on July 16, 2023. He was 59 years old, pancreatic cancer. The cybersecurity community mourned him in a way that surprised people who only knew him from the headlines. As a pioneer, a teacher, and in some sense a cautionary tale about how afraid we can become of things we don't yet understand. His obituary ran in the New York Times, the same newspaper that had once called him the most dangerous hacker in the world. The internet he helped shape still runs. The systems he once broke into are long gone, replaced by infrastructure he may have helped make more secure. And somewhere in the architecture of every cybersecurity framework in use today, in every social engineering training program, in every red team exercise, in every policy that treats the human being as the most critical variable in any security chain, you can find the fingerprints of Kevin Mitnick. The ghost is still in the machine,